Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Welcome.
We back. We're back. And for the first edition after Eid 1443, this is nothing but the truth with
Brother Jamil.
and Sister Teasha. You looking good in that orange tonight, girl. You look magical. Yes. I know we're not gonna be playing with y'all all night, but we wanted to just start off on a good.
My magic potion for love. Play it again. Play
Tech
it again
team,
so I can come
no,
in.
no.
Play
Tech
it again
team,
one more
don't
time.
play the magic stuff, and don't let. We're off to a good start, and we want to thank you all for gathering around. You know the routine. You know what we do. Sister Amina's do. Sister Amina's doing it from Boston. She's already checking in. Y'all know the routine. Come on in the comments section and let us know who you are and where you're calling from, and we'll get right there, and we'll make sure that we get it together for you. Okay. So everybody, make sure we got that going on. You know what you do? Go in the chat or comments. Like for example, we can see Brother Mark is on from Springfield, Ohio. Brother Harold B. Muhammad from the mighty city of Greensboro, North Carolina. We can see that Sister Amina P. Muhammad is on from Boston, Massachusetts. All right. So there's our brother Adolph. He's with us there in Wilmington, Delaware. So everybody's coming in. Derek 3X from, of course, Rahway, New Jersey, by way of New York City, Queens, the most beautiful city in the world. He makes me say it every week.
Makes you say
And
it.
so New York believes that about themselves. We
Hey.
let them believe it. I got something from Queens for you tonight, though, bro. I got something from Queens for you. So we want to make sure we're all here together. Brother Gregory Muakil Muhammad is with us from Jacksonville, Florida,
All right.
down there in Duval County. So you all see what's happening. People are gathering around the backyard fence, and this is where we're going to make it happen. All right. And so we want to make sure you know what's happening and making it happen. We're bringing our guest on board now. He's with us and getting into the green room. We got the tech team with us. This is our first show after Ramadan. We've been joined by the relationships expert.
Hey.
She's on the line. What time is it, Teasha?
Oh, it's that talent. Why? Is it?
It's Italian twine time. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, okay.
Compliments of that relationship expert.
Yes, the relationship expert, Sister Katrina Muhammad, is on the line with us. Our music director is here with us. Our dear brother Gary Muhammad from the great metropolis of Bloomington, Illinois. He's with us tonight. Also, our dear sister and my sister-in-law. You can't have her. That's my sister-in-law. Shantae.
You can have her.
Stop saying that.
Sorry. Hey, Sean.
This is Sean Turner's with us from Northwest Arkansas. And so she's moving Northwest Arkansas in the house, as they call it there, NWA. I don't know why they call it that, but that's what they say.
Arkansas. Cut it out.
NWA. But they're there as well. So we got a lot going on, everybody. And I want to make sure you all know we are thinking about you. Oh, my goodness. Everybody's here tonight. Look at everybody checking in.
I'm excited.
Okay, happy birthday, Vivian, down in NWA. Vivian's 8 years old today. Vivian Turner, you know her. She's Splivy Vivi, and she turns 8 today.
Vivian.
Wow, there is so much going on. I can't read all the comments as we get to them a little bit later, but I want to make sure that you all know what we're doing. We're checking in and letting everybody know we're here with the family. We're back for another edition of Nothing But the Truth with Brother Jamil and
Sister Teasha.
That's her. And so I'm going to turn you over to the world's greatest host. She told me that just a few moments ago, so I know what to say. The world's greatest host is with us tonight, Sister Teasha. Go right ahead.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Nothing But the Truth with Brother Jamil and Sister Teasha. We're so glad to have you back. At this time, I want to remind everybody to what you need to do to help us grow and spread this platform. You know what to do. You want to mosey on over to our YouTube channel. Look for Nothing But the Truth with Brother Jamil and Sister Teasha. Hit that subscribe button. You'll also see a little bell for notifications. And when you subscribe to that, when you hit the bell, it's going to let you know every time we go live, right? Then after you do that, go over to our Facebook page, same name, Nothing But the Truth with Brother Jamil and Sister Teasha. Do a like, share, and subscribe. Get it out to all your friends and family, and then come on back. And let's get down. We're going to party tonight, aren't we, Muhammad?
Yeah, we got some good things happening. We have a very interesting guest for you tonight. I want you to consider the time and what must be done. And it's not just that you can consider the daily requirements of your particular life, but I want you to consider, if you will,
Mm.
we're submitting for your consideration this evening the idea that Black America is a place filled with survivors. We have survived a treatment unlike any other people in the history of the world.
Mhm.
So tonight, starting us off, letting us know how we're getting started. We're not going to stay all night in a dark place. There's a plenty of laughs to be had tonight, but we want to make sure we get a chance to open up the line and hear from you. I want you to give us a call. Let us know, how was your Ramadan? How was your Eid? You've had a chance to hear from student minister Ilya Rashad Muhammad, student
Mhm.
minister Dimitri Muhammad, student minister Carlos Muhammad, so many others who have come on this line. Sister Katina Muhammad, talking
Yes.
about reconciliation and forgiveness and atonement. All of those great teachers. I want to find out how your Ramadan was for you. So while you are calling, call
Mhm.
right now, 404-919-7399. That's
Right.
404-919-7399. We're taking calls right now to check and see who's with us and how it's been going for you.
Right. What did you learn this year going around? Was there any new experiences for you? Um, I don't want to say, did you have any rough patches? But if you did, what did you do to overcome them?
Right,
What were
right.
your wins? That's what we want to hear about.
Sure thing, sure
Uh-huh.
thing. And for those whose Ramadan was their first Ramadan, we want to hear from you too. If it was your first Ramadan, some people have been in the nation 3 or 4 years. This may have been your first successful Ramadan in terms of the fast or in terms of some of the spiritual knowledge that comes to you at this particular time. So the number's on the screen, 404-919-7399. That's 404-919-7399. You don't have to be a Mets fan
Mm-mm.
to dial the number. It helps, of course, if you know your Cleon Jones from your Tommy AG, if you know your Crane Pools, mhm, yeah, from your Pepitones,
But
from
what
your
if you don't
from
know it? Can you
if
still call?
you can still call 404-919-7399, and we'll make sure that we blend you in to the program this evening. There is some greatness going on, and we want to let you know that you can be a part of it. As soon as the tech team notifies us, we'll let you know. But we want to let you know also. I know, Derek, you hate the Mets. My goodness. Well, one of our fellows from Mobile, Alabama, one of the great guys that we love in the community and family, Mr. Cleon Jones, made his career with the Mets. And some of us became secondary Met fans because of that. It had nothing to do with Bud Harrelson. It had nothing to do with any of the rest of those guys. It had everything to do with Cleon
Is
Jones.
anyone else lost? I'm lost. I don't know any of those people.
You know Willie Mays. All right. That's all. That's what I
It was
was
my
going to say.
uncle.
Willie, none of your uncle, girl. Anyway, Sister Tracy's on the line with us tonight. Sister-in-law Patricia, good to see you, Tricia. How's everything down in Dallas, Texas? So many others who we're a family here, and that's the cool thing I love about Nothing But the Truth with Brother Jamil and Sister Teasha. We are a family, and we are the ones who keep this relationship together. When you come here, we
Mhm.
let you know we love you. That's important. And this is a place where enthusiasm carries the order of the day. If you, Mookie Wilson, exactly, Brother Harold, but if you are always thinking of the good things, you're in the right place.
Beautiful.
If you're a person who's looking for a way to find the good in other folks, this is home for you.
Beautiful.
And if you are still like Oscar the Grouch, we're going to pick you up out of that garbage can and doggone it, we're going to give you a hug, you smelly rascal. And no, no, that's too personal. Yeah. Okay.
Now, everybody, don't forget, we still want to implement the that segment that you didn't know. I
Yes.
haven't really gotten any responses yet. If you are interested in being a part of the Bet You Didn't Know, if you're doing something in your community, in your hometown, in your kitchen, whatever, and you want everybody to know about it, you can hit us on the inbox. You can put it in the chat what you're doing if you're interested in being a part of that segment. It's not a whole hour long segment. It'll be just a few minutes here or there, but we want to spotlight some of the Nothing But the Truth family and what you're doing. And we want to share that and put you out there, promote you. Because remember, this platform is for all of us. So we're waiting to get that Bet You Didn't Know platform up.
Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
So
Yes,
don't forget
indeed.
about that.
And that's very important too. I'm glad you said that, teacher, because the nation and the Black community is full of wonderful people. You're about to meet one of them tonight who I think should be much more widely known than he is, even though he is familiar with people who do good work everywhere.
Mhm.
But we want to introduce him to you, and we're going to take our time and bring him forward at this point.
Let us hear about it.
He's my brother. He's my friend, and I'm proud to say that about him because not only is he the originator of his own method of psychotherapy called Ubuntu, which addresses the cultural and specific needs of Black people and African people worldwide as we work to heal our minds,
Mhm.
both from racism here and colonialism back on the continent. Not only that, but he's also the originator of great work to help and bring healing to Black men and boys and Black families in the Gambia on the African continent. Not only that, he's a percussionist, a drummer, a musician, and a musical analyst of great power and insight. And he is the chairman of the Department of Psychology at Grambling State University in Louisiana. Oh, yeah. And he's our brother and he's our friend. Let's bring him on, our dear brother, Brother Kevin Washington. Dr. Washington, come on out, brother. Can we bring him out into the screen?
Technical.
Oh, not a technical difficulty.
Yeah,
No.
let's see.
Oh, my goodness. I don't think Sister Monica approved us to have a technical difficulty. She didn't say we could do that. So we're going to keep on. There he is.
Resolved.
All right. The technical difficulty is solved. And
Yes.
so, yes, indeed. And no, that's not a younger, handsomer version of Richard Roundtree. That is my brother. That's brother Dr. Kevin Washington
Hey, now.
with us. And you're with us in Louisiana tonight, right, brother?
Yes, sir. I'm in Louisiana, Shreveport. I am the head of sociology and psychology department at Grambling State University. So I'm down here in what they call the dirty. I'm down here where I was born and raised in Louisiana.
Yes, sir. In the boot
In the
itself.
boot.
And I'm glad that you're with us tonight. So Teasha and I have a lot of questions for you. We know the audience may call in and comment in, and I'm glad that you have agreed to be with us tonight. We know your schedule is busy, and as an educator at one of the most prominent and prestigious HBCUs in the country, we know that time is of an essence, and we will not belabor you, but we're glad to have you. And I want to give just a little background before we start our discussion. Brother Dr. Washington and I have worked together tangentially and sometimes directly over the past couple of decades, both in the metropolitan Washington area and around the country. I didn't get a chance to mention during my short introductory remarks that my brother is also a spiritual man of some great insight and power. He, as a minister in the Imani Temple, he has served communities who needed to be rebuilt. And so tonight's discussion is a discussion about how we begin to rebuild and have a good time doing it. And so that's what I love about my brother. And he'll say some things that'll make you think, that'll make you go, You may even end up patting your foot before this broadcast is over. Let me jump right in.
Yes.
Tell us, my dear brother, how did it come to you that Ubuntu developed? What made you feel the necessity for a specific methodology of psychotherapy that would apply just to our people? Why?
So thank you for inviting me to be a part of this place of love. I heard how you set it all up, saying this is if you don't have any love, you can't be in this place. You need to get on out. Oscar the Grouch can't get any love. Somebody said. I'll hug the love back into Oscar. The idea of understanding Ubuntu as a model came to me as I traveled to South Africa, but I heard about it before I went to South Africa from the late Dr. Bishop Desmond Tutu. It was very clear when he mentioned about Ubuntu and what it meant. And when I thought about Ubuntu and I thought about growing up in the South, it sounded like everything that we do, about everything is community. Everything is communal. And the Western concept of psychology and healing is about the individual. But you don't have a person without other people. As a matter of fact, the Zulus say Umuntu, Gamuntu, Gabantu, which says a person is a person because there are other people. And so then it became clear that if we're going to talk about the healing and repairing of a population, if we're going to talk about the issue of restoration of one's greatness, you have to have some clarity around a model that actually speaks to their spirit. And I will say this, that therapy is to the soul and our spirit what a cast is to a broken bone. It provides the structure for the healing to take place. But if you do not have any clarity around the original formation of the bone, you may put the cast on incorrectly. And so when we go to Europeans to get therapy or to seek therapeutic interventions, they have no clear understanding of what was the original formation of our soul before it was broken by racism, oppression, before it was broken by the issue of the diabolical nature of European white terrorism. They have no understanding of what it looked like prior to that. For them, the normal aspect of who we are is when we are caricatures of who they are. And so the model then has to be inconsistent with the psyche, the spirit, and the historical legacy of a population. And so thus we have Ubuntu psychotherapy. Now, Dr. Fred Phillips had come up with into psychotherapy before that. So all honor to the elder for coming up with that out in Washington, D.C. And simply we just added the Ubuntu nature to it to talk about not only the issue of beingness, but also the idea of humanity and how it is connected to others. That's how we have agency in the world.
Wow. I'm writing as fast as I can to try and take my notes, but I want to ask you this. May I? Because I know you can jump in anytime you like. But I just want to ask this question. Are you asserting the value of the we as compared with the I? Is that what I'm hearing?
Indeed. Dr. Robert Williams talked about the WEOC model. The elder just recently transitioned as well. One of my persons that I looked up to, a Jegna and a mentor, and he talked about WEOC, the idea we, us, I model. That is how we look at humans and how we function. As a matter of fact, in the South, going around and when I would meet people, they would say, yeah, how your mama nim? Ebonically correct, right? How your mama nim? The question becomes, how do they know how to ask, how is your mother and the rest of them that are tied to her, right?
Yes.
And so that's a heavy question because it wasn't about how are you doing? The question was about how is your mother and the rest of them tied to her? Which means that if I answered that question in a certain way, it lets them know how I am doing and how the formation of the family is doing in the not only physical realm, but also the spiritual realm, right? So she fine, ebonically correct, no zero copula, meaning no verb, right? Not she is doing well, she fine, right? But Ray is out there again. Well, tell your mama I'm going to bring her by some greens. Now, always a question, what does bringing some food got to do with anything? But again, it is about the connectivity, the idea of I'm going to restore her to some greatness by giving her some SOUL food for her SOUL, right? I'm going, but as those greens are being prepared, there's going to be a prayer, an incantation, a pouring of essence into them so that they can be restorative. These are deep things that people that we do that they don't even know that we're doing. And before we leave that particular session, they may bring the greens by, they may eat the greens in, they may not, but one thing that they're going to do, they're going to get into a circle and they're going to hold hands and they're going to have a prayer for Ray again, right? So again, the idea of connectivity, spirit energy, right? We understood that is Ubuntu in the American context, that we have agency because of us, not because of I, but because of we.
My goodness. And in direct response to the comment section, particularly from our sister, Katrina Muhammad in Chicago, who's asking how can she acquire copies of the books that Dr. Washington is referencing. We will get a small bibliography and add it to the YouTube posting of this program so that as you review the program, as you like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, you can have access to the bibliography. It will also appear in the Facebook and Instagram pages connected with this program, because there'll be too much to actually give at one time. Teasha, go right ahead.
What I'm thinking as I was listening, the visual of Ubuntu in the community, us, our people as a community, the things we did. How's your grandma and them? How's your mom and them? It was so comforting and inviting and warm. It was good memories because I remember that as a child. And I'm thinking now towards how fast we move in society and our youth, how our youth seem to feel so disconnected. It's like they're missing that. And I don't know if it's because of how fast society is moving. We're so technical with everything. We don't really stop and visit people or have conversations. We've lost something. And we sometimes you just have to go back to the basics, and what you think is the basics really is what's most important. Because as you were just describing Ubuntu and what it was so warming. And I just remembered my grandma. We didn't bring her greens. We were in the South Bronx, but it was still warm. She'd be like, "Bring me a Pepsi and a Mr. Goodbar." We'd be happy. It was still warm thoughts. I think of Miss Pepsi and Mr. Goodbar. That's my nana. But I get what you're saying.
When
And
you
when we
said
talk about how
connected,
you,
Teasha, you said
Mhm.
connected. That is the key element to the theoretical construct. UBU means means being, and into you means unifying life force. It says that a person has agency because they are connected. And if they are disconnected, then there is a lack of flow in their lives. And so when we look at our lives in the American context, we become disconnected from not only our essence, right, through proper ritual, umzebeze, what they call it among the Zulu, but it's the same thing, right? We don't do proper rituals such as acknowledging, as you mentioned, your grandmother, acknowledging who they are, who they were in our lives, and what they taught us and contributed to our lives, acknowledge our cultural ancestors, right? We don't acknowledge them. Now we divine to European ancestors all the time. You say, how do we do that? Every time we use a US dollar, a US 5, we are divining to a European ancestor. Every time we go to certain streets and buildings named after them, we are divining to them. We're saying, we look up at the moniker or the tag above the door and see the building name for the person. We have to look up, give reverence, and then go in. So we do all of this divining to them, and we're losing the power of our own connectivity to those that brought us forward. Also, we're losing connectivity to one another. We don't know how to honor and respect one another as a people. So Ubuntu reminds us of this idea of how do you honor, how do you set up something to that recognizes those that came before you? How do you honor and recognize yourself in this moment for being a seed of 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 the seed, right? Which means then you got to honor yourself as also being divine. And how do you acknowledge those that are around you that are pouring into you? And helping you to become a better you. So I have only purpose because others are around me. I ask students all the time, if they're in a classroom and I am not there, are they students? They say, yes, we're students. I say, it's not possible because you are a student, because I'm a teacher, I'm a professor. If I'm not there,
Mhm.
then you are not a student. If I'm in the room and you're not here, I'm not a professor. That I have purpose because we are here in this room together. That is Ubuntu. We're connected.
Connectedness of Ubuntu. Wow. You're listening to Brother Mwata Kaidi, also known as Dr. Kevin Washington, our brother, scholar, and I like to call him my friend, the Renaissance man, because your study has taken you to so many different interesting areas of inquiry. I want to shift gears a little bit now to talk about your work as a scientist of sound, um, a metaphysical musician, if you will, someone whose understanding of drum rudiments and makes the difference for all of us. And so, can you hear me, bro? Okay, you can hear me loud and clear. But I want to make sure that I understand how is it that, because let me just start with the Jabari reference, okay?
Hmm.
Today, when we were talking earlier this afternoon, just chit chatting and chopping it up like brothers do, you were joined in your office by a young student who came in to talk with his brother, mentor, and friend, Dr. Washington. His name was Jabari, or as he says it in his hometown, Jabari from New Orleans. And as he started talking and he met me over the phone, we instantly became family. That was through the agency of connectedness that you supplied the medium for brothers who had never met each other but already knew each other to actually gel and create the beginnings of a relationship. How does Black music serve to create that medium in your view?
So, it is difficult to do anything in the community without this idea of music. I don't care where you go. We can mark time, you can mark movement, you can mark thought, you can mark ideas by music. I was speaking to someone today and I mentioned she was talking about the concert and Johnny Gill. She says, yeah, that was the summer of 1990 and every song on the album, right? She went through the entire the soundtrack in her heart and mind and spirit. So we know then that music has this capacity to mark and give identity, but also we understand the power of rhythm and vibration as a people. And so we
Mhm.
understand this idea of rhythm among the Ga in West Africa. They suggest that rhythm is masculine and vibration is feminine. That
Wait, say that
vibration
again
is
now. Say that
that
again. Rhythm?
rhythm is masculine and a vibration is feminine. That the vibration is like the wind. It can blow a cool breeze or it can create an entire storm. And so they say that is feminine. It has that capacity to do both and. And rhythm is staccato, or rhythm is counted, is metered, is measured.
Mhm.
However, the power of it is that vibration without rhythm is random and rhythm without vibration is silent. So they talk about the entrainment of the two, the coming together of the two that creates this thing called life. So in reality, there is a masculine and feminine aspect to rhythm and vibration in music that is enjoining, that creates an entirely new life that is birth. It's just like man and woman coming together, and that is called the entrainment, that one can get locked into that. So when you think about
Hmm.
music, you're talking about something that is entering into the ear or going into the soul, the spirit, and is giving birth to something. But at the same time, that which comes out as music has been birthed from experience, and also it comes out of essence. And so, music is not only something that is about what has happened internally, but it's also an expression of a birthing of something into the world. And so, we have to be responsible with what we give birth to. And so we have real
Wow.
challenges with the music, but we connected in that room around not just simply one thing, we connected around life. And when
Mhm.
you got off the phone, he was in the room because your words, your vibration, your utterance spoke to his essence and gave life to him. And so he left out of that room. But before he left, he called his mama, right? The woman that gave birth. Think about this right here and say, Mama, I want you to meet the man that's helping me right now. So you gave birth. That conversation just kept birthing a whole new reality. So it went back to how he even got here, right? He got back to the mama, said, Mama, this is the man. The mama said,
Mhm.
I'm glad you got somebody there with you, right? And that just kept going and on and on and on because it was rhythm, it was vibration, and he knew that there had to be a meshing of his masculine and feminine energy in his life right then that's helping him get through education. So it was a heavy piece.
Wow, wow. This is amazing. Two quick questions before I yield to my wife, because I know that she's shaking her head like, no, go ahead. But but honey, if you don't mind, I want to drop two other little niblets in here. Number one, there's a great seminal volume in that field of study called Roots of Soul by Ivory Tolson and Alfred Pasteur. I think it's 81 or 82, where they deal with the presence of melanated neurons in the nerve system and how those melanated neurons and ganglia transmit impulses faster and more efficiently than nerves and ganglia that are not melanated. Hence, Black people tend to feel music. And there are certain vibrations, particularly bass and drum vibrations rather, that actually give to us a feeling where we can involuntarily be moved by the music. It is something as natural to us as a heartbeat, which we cannot will or will to stop, or breathing, which we cannot will or will to stop. We don't have control of it at the ultimate level. this is something that I'm hearing you say that struck out in my mind, and the great maestro himself, Mr. Barry White. Barry White, the great maestro, the musician, producer, and recording artist, said that he mixed his music by bringing the rhythm to the front. And he talked about how in the embellishments of the music, the men liked the horns because they were given to blasts and riffs, and that the women liked the strings because they were given to a longer extended vibration. And when you said that, I couldn't help but think of Barry White. Did you ever consult with him? Or I've never, wow. Did
Never
that
a
ever happen?
consultation. He understood the idea of rhythm and vibration at a deep intrapsychic spiritual level. You mentioned the book Roots of Soul, the notion that the melanin actually is a facilitator of the transmigration of energy in the context of rhythm, tone, tonality. It also can be a difficulty for us because also neurochemicals, chemicals such as psychotropic medication activates quicker, so we can become addicted faster. So that's why we understand that music and is a drug as well, because it begins to excite endorphins, and it begins to create a condition by which endorphins move, and so we have have all of this happening all at one time, where we're feeling good, we're having these experiences, but also those same neurotransmitters that are excited can be triggered to create elements of violence and/or anger. Because when it says, the song says, there's a thin line between love and hate. The
Persuaders.
The only governor that discerns love and hate is not the part of the body the brain that's excited, because the part of the brain that's excited can either do both, one or the other. But it is us. We interpret that. So if you think about your first crush, all of a sudden you're around the person that you are just enamored with, and the heart is palpitating, right? Adrenaline raises up. The brain has no idea if that's danger or it's attraction, right? The same feeling that happens when you see somebody that you can't stand. That so-and-so goes to you. The same adrenaline gets higher, right? There's a rush. And so the only governor is the consciousness of the psyche of a person that says, in this case, we have these feelings because we are enamored. In this case, we have these feelings because we're angered, right? And so we have to understand that the power of the music can excite, it can create love, affection, it can create hate and anger, it can create sadness, it can bring all of those emotions up. That's why we have the blues. But when you talk about Barry White, right, the understanding of the Love Light Orchestra, he named it Love Light Orchestra, right? Love Light Orchestra. Right here. Right, he was hitting it. Love,
yes,
Light Orchestra.
Yes, indeed. You're listening to my brother Muata Kairi, also known as brother Dr. Kevin Washington, the chairman of the Sociology and Psychology Department at Grambling State University there in Louisiana, the Pelican State, or as we call it over Mama Nim's house, the boot.
The boot.
Right? But we are grateful that our brother's with us tonight. We are going to take your questions. We're in the comment section. Doc, can we go to the comments and get a couple of questions while we're here?
I finally saw the comments. There we go.
Well, don't worry. We're going
very deep.
Take a minute.
Sister Katrina Muhammad says very deep. Very deep rhythm without the vibration woman. Yes.
This is what we're going to do, Dr. Washington. We got a short message for our viewers. Y'all know what the bottom of the hour is. We're going to come back and run for the tape with Dr. Washington right after these messages. We'll be back. Don't touch that dial.
All right. See you in a moment.
Hey, everybody. Assalamu alaikum and Eid Mubarak.
Assalamualaikum.
We are back and we got something to say today. This is a special Eid greeting to you. At the end of a successful Ramadan, We were here today successfully again in Baltimore, Maryland. And what you're about to see is what, honey? Tell them.
Pictures of us with some of the Nothing But the Truth family, showing love, having a great Eid. It's just great.
Yes, and these people may not all have silver hair, but they're still okay. They're still okay. Nice people. Anyway, let's go to the pictures. So we're hurrying. Okay, so I'm alaikum, prayer time, Eid Mubarak.
Why is he talking so fast?
Allah the beneficent, Allah the merciful, Allah the beneficent, the Lord of the worlds. Allah the beneficent, Allah the merciful, Allah the Lord of the worlds. Allah the beneficent, Allah the merciful, Allah the beneficent, the Lord of the worlds. Allah the beneficent, Allah the merciful, Allah the Lord of the worlds. Allah the beneficent, Allah the merciful, Allah the beneficent, the Lord of the worlds. Allah the beneficent, Allah the merciful, Allah the beneficent, the Lord of the worlds. Allah the beneficent, Allah the merciful, Allah the beneficent, the Lord of the worlds. Allah the beneficent, Allah the merciful, Allah the Lord of the worlds. Allah the beneficent, Allah the merciful.
So proud of all of you. We are so proud of you and so proud to be a part of the Nothing But the Truth family. Teasha, you had something you want to ask about? Can we go right to the comments, or how do you want to do it?
We can go to the comments. I'm really enjoying this conversation, and I'm thinking about how the music makes me feel.
Mhm.
Especially sometimes I can just get lost in music. Can anybody else feel that? When you're feeling down or what have you, sometimes you just turn on the music and it just changes your whole spirit, and you can find yourself just there for hours, just enjoying the music. This is great.
Yeah.
Or when
Yeah.
you're cleaning, you put on that Sunday morning, it's time to get up and clean. All the children know what that playlist is.
Yes. Everybody knows that playlist.
Everyone knows that playlist. Great. Yeah, let's go to the comments. Let's see what's going on with the questions. Y'all put your questions in the chat. We're ready for you.
All right. One that we saw, Dr. Washington, was from our sister Katrina in Chicago again. She asked a question about how we can rebuild and build this connection. She says, can we build this connection and community back up in the Black community? Is it based on rebuilding the Black family? So that's a two-part question.
Man, I'm so busy stuck into all of the. I'm in. The song is still. Somebody said, "Well, she's swinging." I'm swinging. I feel like I could sing after hearing that. Like I got a voice. I was breaking down the various parts of what they were doing, saying, "Yeah, that's a 4-part, 5-part harmony." I like that. Anyway, so yes, there is a way, the need to rebuild. We must understand that the destruction of the nation or population comes through the destruction of the family. That the family is the sacred element of any community that we engage in, and so that was part of the disruption that happened to us as a people of African descent, especially, but also the stripping and taking away of music and vibration from us. Many places playing the drum. I am a drummer. Playing the drum was outlawed. It was because they knew that we knew how to communicate through rhythm and vibration, and that we could send messages, and we still do send messages in that manner. And if you listen to many of the contemporary songs today by those that are in their 20s, they will use the rhythm tracks from the 80s and 70s, and they will express what's happening right now in 2020, 21, 22. So they understand that there's something in that sound, that vibration. They will use Motown. They will use the sounds from that era, which was speaking to spirit and liberation of a population that was beginning to calm the soul, but also excite the spirit to be able to move and be active to change in the era of Black power. And it became disconnected. That's why I slow down and say disco. Disco music was, some say, a disconnection that moved from having a certain type of funk rhythm. So you can always tell disco from funk because the drums would either be do ah do do right, have that, or it'd be do at at. Disco was always do at which
Right.
which removed that, usually that double kick, which gave it the extra flavor, and so it became simply a sound with no real substance, right?
You better
And
teach.
and so what happens is that that becomes a part of the disconnect of spirit and soul of a population. And so then we move into this transitory period where we find ourselves where it's more electronic and it's less substance. But the point here is also to know that they understand in the here and now, because it's in their essence, that they have to reach back and get the real music, because what they're working with doesn't have real substance to it.
Wow.
And so they will take these sounds, and we can use an example. It's an older one, but if you even think about Roger Troutman and Zap, which is not an old R&B song, it was electronic, but he had a song called "All Right, It's Gonna Be All Right," that then Tupac uses for "Keep Your Head Up," which then it becomes also the same track used for "Knocking the Boots," which becomes the same track that's used by Kirk Franklin was oh, you look better when you smile. So you have that understanding that the same rhythm conveyed a message, and it's amazing how people understood the message, the rhythm still conveys. So even if I'm knocking the boots in the song, I still have "all right, it's gonna be all right" in my head. And so he was speaking, Roger Troutman speaking to soul and our spirit. So we have to recognize that there is a connection. So even though the young people don't seem to be listening to what we say, they're watching what we do. And they know that mama and them, daddy, them, grandpa, somebody was playing this music and it sounds good. Let me hear what you were playing it again. I've done it in my office where just recently, I think my man Bruno Mars has brought back a Confunction Love Train. And so they were playing and said, "Oh yeah, we really like that Bruno Mars." I said, "But let me let you hear the original." And they were in the room. They were in the room. Literally, they were listening to Bruno Mars. They were kind of up here with it. They were in the room, and when I played the intro, they sat back, and it changed, because remember now with Bruno Mars, they were up here. They were just listening, but when they heard that Confunction, and the bass came in, the rhythm guitar and the bass, they actually sat back and got comfortable. And they said, now, and all of them said, yeah. What was that? What was that made them say, yeah? It spoke to essence and our spirit. This is what we have to recognize. That rhythm and vibration, that's the same thing that happens, Brother Jamil, when a brother sees a sister that he likes, he says, yeah, rhythm and vibration. It's not shallow. It's not, it's
yeah. You know, and that's the same. And now again, we keep bearing witness. We only have we only have about 14 minutes left in the program segment. I got to tell you, we remember the version of The Girl from Ipanema, the great Gilberto piece from Brazil, done by our own South Side of Chicago bard, Mr. Lou Rawls, right? And Lou Rawls, he breaks it down and blueses it. Talking about tall and tan and young and lovely, the girl From Ipanema goes walking, and when she passes, each fellow she passes goes, yeah. And that's the lyric as Lou Rawls renders it. And that fits into the pattern that you just gave us. And so it's amazing how wonderful this discussion is with our brother Muata Kairi. He's also known as Dr. Kevin Washington, the chairman of the Sociology and Psychology Department at Grambling State University in Louisiana. But he's our brother breaking down for us why what sounds good to us sounds good to us. What else gets in that category, dear brother? What else gets into that?
It's amazing because I was thinking about you'll never find right, right. Lou Rawls, right? A whole different conversation about music, but again, tonality. And we have to recognize that this is critical to our for our people because we can use rhythm and vibrations. You mentioned about the melanin sites. We
Mhm.
can talk more about that later in another segment. But it's important to understand that other people understand how to control us through rhythm. I play African drums, and so one of the things that I also learned are various rhythms that are played for certain purposes. So I learned a rhythm called Yankadi, which is played when the young ladies come from the bush after rites of passage, and they come out into the community to signify that they are pretty or that they're beautiful, that they're ready for marriage. They are now women. And I played certain rhythms at certain times in certain places, and I was playing in a largely white audience, and I would play these rhythms and I ask the question, how do you feel or what do you think about when you hear this rhythm? And when I played Yankadi, one white female said, and I didn't tell her the history or anything of it, she said, I feel pretty. How did she know that that's what that rhythm was about? She didn't know, but she felt it. Our
Wow.
people understand the power and the science of rhythm, but others also understand that we understand this. And so they use us to work against ourselves using the same rhythms that we use as the vibration and frequency. They change it just a little bit. The whole issue, and you talk well about this, about the and the tabula issue of the decibel and everything else. That they use that tonality against us, and then the same thing that makes us want to find the girl from Ipanema, wait, makes us want to go and knock somebody to Ipanema, right? Because they manipulate us. So we have this entire genre of music that
Wow.
speaks to instant gratification, speaks to getting high, it speaks to all of those things that have no real substance.
Wow. Wow. You're listening to my brother, Brother Muata Kairi, Dr. Kevin Washington from Grambling State University. We're winding up now. We have to move to our next segment with Sister Teasha in just about 3 minutes. But before we conclude this segment, quickly, you mentioned something about HBCU marching bands and the drum patterns that are prominent in them. And you even mentioned the other day in a conversation with some other black men about the song called Talking Out the Side of Your Neck. Hey, hey, hey. And how it is rendered differently. Could you elaborate on that a bit?
Just a quick one, right? Because I know the time is here, but we were actually first to ever play that on the field. That is Mississippi Valley and Graham State University. And I'll tell you how we played it. We played it. The song had just come out, and we had run out of music. And they hadn't set the stage up, so we started playing it, and it was heavy. Now it becomes one of those anthems that you can hear played throughout the Black college life. But then we have white bands playing the same song, but it doesn't have the same feel because when you talk about the black college experience, you know you at a black college game because when you approach the stadium, you hear row, row, row. You hear the bass, and then you may digga 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 row, row. Oh, you're hearing all of that going on, and so you know between the bass horn, which is like the flow, and the drums are like the beat, keeping the heartbeat going. That is flow and beat going together. And when you enter the stadium, you feel that. And what happens is white bands can play the note, but they
Hmm.
can't capture the feel
Wow.
because the feel is experience.
Yes.
This feel is essence. And when you haven't had that experience of being traumatized and dehumanized and sodomized, and when you don't have the essence that is divine, all you can do is execute and play a note, but you cannot give me an experience that is beauty, that is power. We must recognize that we are the symbol of all that is divine, and we have that within us. We are purveyors of that, and we allow ourselves to be diminished by trying to become unlike ourselves. And that's where
Wow.
we find ourselves in chaos and confusion. But when we return back to our divinity and we begin to resonate with our true beauty, our sound, our rhythm, then we will find that our children will be enlivened, be enlightened, and they will actually live out the truth of who they really are, because we have brought back to them their true essence of their rhythm and their vibration.
I love
My
it.
goodness.
I love
My
it.
goodness. Don't go anywhere, sir. Just stay right there in that chair, right there. Teasha, you got something to handle, some housekeeping business, and we're gonna come back, and then we're gonna play some records tonight after the show go off. Okay, honey? Yeah, we're gonna play some records. Go ahead,
From
honey.
the 80s?
The
Where we going with the
60s. I'm talking about Eddie Floyd. Huh?
record? I'm going to bed.
Okay.
He said records. He ain't say tapes.
Playing some records.
What's happening, honey? What's happening?
All right. All right, everybody. I'm hoping that you are enjoying this edition of Nothing But the Truth with Brother Jamil and Sister Teasha. This is a good one. We are glad to have you here. At this time, I just want to remind everybody once again before we go to make sure you head over to the YouTube page if you haven't already done so and subscribe to our channel. Help us grow this platform. You're going to Nothing But the Truth with Brother Jamil
And Sister Teasha.
Hit that like, share, and subscribe. And remember, when you're there, if you want to, you can always go back and I'm echoing, sorry. You can go back and watch some of the previous broadcasts. They're all listed on YouTube, right? Share those as well. And then go to Facebook, do the same. Nothing But the Truth with Brother Jamil and Sister Teasha. And then like, share, and subscribe that way as well. Then lastly, what we need you to do if you're moved to do so is make a love donation to our Cash App. $ Bro Works, $BROWORKS. Any love donations that we receive go directly to promoting the platform and expanding the podcast. And we really need your guys' help because we're trying to take this thing to the next level.
Yes,
all right?
ma'am.
All right, that's it. Back to you, Millington.
Thank you, honey. Sister Teasha, want to appreciate you very, very much for what you've done tonight. And certainly we are grateful to you for all of the donations that you may be offering in this cause. Every time we find out that we think we've got enough equipment and everything is in place, the tech team goes, yeah. It's like y'all look more like Wayne's World than you look like CNN. So we don't want to be cable access TV in some Midwestern town. We want to actually move up in level of professionalism to do what we do to bring you guests like tonight's guest of honor, our dear beloved brother, Dr. Kevin Washington, to whom goes the last word before we sign off. Dr. Washington, what do we need to remember? And everybody, by the way, before he starts, y'all go in the chat and let my brother know, do you want to see him back on Nothing But the Truth with Brother Jamil and Sister Teasha? Just go in there and put yes or come back, or he better hurry back and how mama and them, well, we're going to make greens or whatever you're going to put in the chat. Put it in there and let my brother know that this is his home as well.
Let us know if you're going to play some records.
Records.
That was shady. That was so shady. Brother Mwanta, go ahead. Go
This
ahead.
is this has been an honor to be a part of this particular family, to be in this particular living room, to have this conversation. Someone put in the chat about James Brown. James Brown knew that everything about the music was a drum. As a matter of fact, he put polyrhythmic elements together that did not go together musically in the mind of those that were around him. But he says, do it feel good? Do it sound good? Then it is good, and play it. That was his idea, that if it came together and it layered together just right, then that was music. And so it wasn't about the theory that comes out of Europe that made it music. It was how it came out of the essence and our soul that made it music. Because if it came from the place of power, it would begin to speak to the power in other people. And that's how you could have songs like Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud. Even though the children singing that particular song with white children he grabbed off the corner, you still could feel it, because he changed them and made them black in the moment with Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud, because of his essence. We must recognize that we are a people of divine origins. We have come from a place of greatness in that we are a seed of a seed of a seed of a seed of the seed. We have no reason to play second class of citizen to anyone in the world. Our music, our vibration is a great gift to the world. And we must understand how to deliver that gift, not only with power and passion, but deliver it with peace. That when we deliver it properly, it can speak to the soul and speak to eternity. We must recognize that we were created in rhythm, that we were created, we grew up in a womb of rhythm, that there was contractions called labor pains rhythm, and that when we came out in the world, we screamed in vibration. So it was rhythm and vibration that brings us forward. It is rhythm and vibration that brings eternal life. We must honor the fact that we are the essence of all that has been, all that is, and all that ever will be. I say, brother, this is nothing but the truth. It's been a pleasure to be here with nothing but the truth.
That's my brother, and I promised you.
Yes, he's a bad man.
I told you he's a bad man. I mean, he shook up the world. He beat Sonny. No, that's somebody else, but he didn't beat Sonny Liston. But that's a bad man, brother and sister. You know what? This is the worst time of our week when we got to let you go. But we do have to go ahead and put an egg in our shoe and beat it. We got to make like a tree and leave. So, dear beloved brothers and sisters, don't do anything to anybody that you wouldn't have them do to you. So, Allah willing and the creek don't rise, we'll be back next Thursday night, right at 8 o'clock, right in this same space with nothing but the truth with
Brother Jamil
and my darling sister Teasha. Thanks, everybody. We're going to play your records tonight. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Dr. Washington.
Thank you.